Okay, let's try this again, shall we? Sorry about that, you guys. I don't know why OBS is doing that lately. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Okay, I just checked my headphones. I can hear myself. Great. You guys are like, well, that was quick. Hey, Melissa, Christy, Day by Day, Cecile, Stasia, Kelsey, and yes, Swamp Lover, I am sorry to answer your question. Hey, Sour. Okay, so, hopefully it won't do that again. I just want to say that before I get started, that I know that a few of you are coming over from Melissa's channel, and thank you, Melissa, so much for doing that. I really appreciate the support that you give me all the time and allow me to voice my opinion and theories on your channel as well. I greatly appreciate that because, as most of you know, that I've been censored left and right from other true crime channels just for voicing my theory on certain things, specifically the Watts case. So again, Melissa, I appreciate that a lot. So thank you. Hey, King Corso. Hey, Haggis. Shani, if you're still here, my love. So first off, I wanted to say that, but then secondly, so if anybody is here from Melissa's channel, or if you are new, all I ask is that you, while listening to this live stream, or if you listen to any of my other live streams, my previous live streams, that you try to keep an open mind. I definitely am not trying to be disrespectful whatsoever to anybody that's affected by these cases and these tragedies. So again, it's not my intentions, but what I'm doing is important to getting the truth out there. So again, if you're new, please try to keep an open mind. At least give me the benefit of the doubt before you completely discredit me. So that's all I ask. Yesterday, is it yesterday or the day before? I can't remember. My last live stream, I played the whole body cam footage of the officers in Utah pulling over Gabrielle, who, if any of you guys aren't familiar with this case, is 22. Her and her boyfriend Brian were on a blogging, I guess they're bloggers on social media. They were driving cross country to all these different national monuments and documenting their travels. And Gabrielle is now missing. But not only is Gabrielle missing, based off the official narrative, Brian, her fiance, is now also missing. And that's, pretty much where we left off in a nutshell. But I just wanted to fill anybody in that's not familiar with the case. But the body cam footage I played my last live stream was law enforcement pulling over the couple under suspicion of being under the influence. And it ended up turning into a domestic violence dispute. Nobody was charged. The officers decided to send Gabrielle with her van and separate them and put Brian up in a lovely hotel room. So during that live stream, I went over the body cam footage, the inconsistencies with it, how it seemed like nothing really seemed to go like with protocol almost. A lot of the symbolism I went over with these these orchestrated events that I believe are happening in the true crime community. One of the characteristics of them is occult symbolism. So whether it be numbers, like your 13s, 33s, double numbers, double letters, duality, colors, the dates will be specific, etc. So I pointed out a ton of symbolism just in the body cam footage alone, but also in several of the photos that Gabrielle and Brian have posted on their social media. So I'm going to be going over today the footage. It's not body cam footage. I guess I don't know if it's from an independent source or actually I lied. It's from Fox 13 again. Go figure. 13 everywhere. Of law enforcement going to Brian's parents' house. I'm still not exactly sure. I asked Melissa, but I'm not sure if she understood my question, or maybe I didn't understand. But I'm not sure why law enforcement showed up to Brian's parents' house exactly. I just know that there's a lot of documentation in this case, and that's another one of those red flags that I'm constantly telling you guys to look out for when there's so much documentation. And a lot of the times this documentation and this footage, like body cam footage, you literally have to like file FOIA requests and jump through hoops to get them. And it's very bizarre that it's just all released just, within days or weeks of these events happening. Another one of the characteristics I tell you guys to look out for in orchestrated events is if these tragic cases, if they gain so much widespread media attention within days, that's one of those red flags. So if all the mainstream media outlets are pushing it, your CNN, your Fox, you name it, even the local ones, they're all pushing the same exact narrative, and it's worldwide within, a few days or a week, that's one of those red flags. And we're already seeing that with this case, as well as the symbolism and other inconsistencies as well. Hey, Nuckin. So I'm not going to play the entire 1 hour, because I'm just not going to do that again today. I can't. I'm not going to play the whole 1 hour of the police or of law enforcement going to Brian's parents' house. So I did pre-record some of it, but I skipped through a lot of it. There's just certain things that I want to point out as far as like the symbolism goes, but I haven't watched it in its entirety, so I'll be watching it pretty much for the first time with you guys. But I'm already suspicious because of so much documentation already with this case. Oh, and Team Houston, I just want to say again that if I do, because I know that you brought it up in Melissa's chat, her last live stream. So I just want to say that if I, again, I don't mean anything disrespectful by any of my theories or anything that I say. I really, truly don't. So if I say anything negative about mainstream media, it's not directed towards any specific like people that work in mainstream media, but you have your mainstream media news outlets that are the ones that are pushing these orchestrated events and these narratives to push multiple agendas. And so again, if I talk negative about them, it's not directed towards anybody in particular. So I just wanted to let you know that again. Okay, so again, this is the Fox 13, and again, I don't want to get copyright claims either. I know that some of the other channels have played this all the way through, but YouTube likes to be selective, and I just really don't feel like taking that chance. Hey, Dakota. So we're just going to go ahead and just watch some of it. Okay, here we go. So I actually, really quick, I cropped out some of the logos. I couldn't, it was pointless because there's Fox 13 News right there. Anyway, if you go back and you look at this this video footage on this Dodge Caravan to the right, and I'll probably pull it up again at some point, but with the people that orchestrate these events, like I said earlier, they love putting the symbolism in plain sight right in front of our faces, and the majority of people have no idea what's going on. So for instance, with the Watts case, there's orange is a very occultic color, and you can find it a lot in these orchestrated events. But with the Watts case, you had Shanann's picture of her, just a couple examples, there's several. Shanann's picture of her at the however many weeks old, and it said that Nico was the size of an orange. You have orange flowers in the kitchen. You have the Broncos colors. You have Nate wearing all his orange. There's just a ton of orange in that case, okay? And I know, and bear with me if you guys are new here, I know that this might sound crazy and ridiculous and like, okay, think, what are you talking about? Just colors? That means nothing, right? I know it sounds very conspiratorial, but I promise if you stick around, it's going to, you're going to see that it's not as coincidental as it might seem, and more done on purpose. But the Dodge Caravan, I believe it is, that's parked in the driveway, they're in Florida, and correct me if I'm wrong, somebody in chat, but it's kind of blurry, but I'm assuming that it's an orange on the Florida license plates. So if someone in the chat can let me know, I meant to verify that information before I went live, and I spaced it. So, but if it is an orange, it's very interesting to me. Now that's just one example. So again, bear with me. Okay.
Walking into the door, and they've been in there for about 30 minutes or so. No sign of them coming out. They were not in uniform. As far as we could tell, there was some thought that they could be FBI agents, but at this point it's still unclear. Again, no movement since those officers first went inside. The only member of the Laundrie family who has made any public appearance about this is Brian's sister, Cassie. She lives about 45 minutes away from here.
So, like I said in my last live stream, I am not in law enforcement. I'm not a detective, but if they're investigating Brian, her fiance, if he's a person of interest, and they're showing up to his house to, whether it be to interview his parents, to collect some sort of evidence or whatnot, why is it that there's so much media there? Not just media, but there's kids, there's other other just random people there that are demanding answers. But why would law enforcement let anyone near that house, especially right on the front lawn? So when I saw this, it's interesting because, like I said earlier, with these events, similar to the Watts case, everything pretty much in that case, the majority of it was documented. So all the body cam footage, the audio interviews, video interviews, pointless body cam footage of Dieter being picked up from the home, body cam footage of Ronnie Watts being taken to the hotel. What does that have to do anything with the investigation? It really doesn't. It was, in my opinion, useless information that just was there to pull at heartstrings, and it makes a good movie. So, with these orchestrated events, they release all this information, like Brian and Gabrielle being pulled over. It's an hour long. We have all this footage of the police showing up to the house for whatever reason. Now we have drone footage. It's to pull people in, get the story, get the narrative out there to as many people as possible, get that widespread mainstream media attention, confuse, distract, because everyone's like, where's Brian? Where's Gabrielle? That's all a part of the psychological aspect of it. Hey, Miss Spencer. So before I say anything, and hopefully you guys can see this okay. I think it might be kind of a little bit blurry. I'll try to zoom in. But I want to see if anybody in chat, any of you guys in chat, have noticed something, and it's a certain item that I talk about a lot, especially recently on my streams, about the specific item that they like to put in these orchestrated events. In every single one of them, you will find this item, and not just some, but a lot. So I want to see if any of you guys catch it before I say anything. Hey, Courtney. Hey, Buttercup. Just a stab in the dark. Well, you're right, Swamp Lover. The shoes. Yep. Let me scroll on here. I could not believe it when I saw it. I'm like, wow, is that really a flag or a banner with flip-flops all over it? I mean, I could not make this stuff up if I tried, you guys. I just see if I can. Hey, Janessa. Okay, it's blurry, but flip-flop, 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 flop, 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 flop. Right, dead center of the frame, right? Between the two people in the front. This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about, you guys, where they literally put it in plain sight and they mock us. Just like with the Watts case, there were so many references to shoes. I don't know how many times Nicole Atkinson mentioned that Shanann's shoes were in the front door. So many references to boots. Chris wearing new boots to work, and then Troy McCoy talking about it and describing that they were new, that he had one pant leg in, one pant leg out. The boots under the stairs, the girl's shoes mentioned. I mean, just so many mentions of shoes. And yes, is it a common item item in a piece of clothing that we wear every single day? Yes, but that's why they do that. So that when someone like myself or RV Truth or Oli Damengard or whoever, sorry, I'm trying to fix this now. Now that that was a dumb idea. If they, if we try to point it out and say that, this is how these people operate, this is how they, show, their little mockery, it makes us look like crazy people, because here we are, we're just talking about, shoes. I went over this on a recent live stream. I actually played the Ole Damengard interview where he actually shows and talks about all the shoes that are in these orchestrated events, and not just true crime. I'm talking about school shootings, terrorist attacks, staged riots. It doesn't matter. It's all the same people that are doing it. And they're using, the same characteristics and the same symbolism in all of these events. So if and when you are able to spot these events for what they really are, they are very easy, almost laughable to spot when they happen. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to, show people the deception that's going on. But more specifically in the true crime community, because there's enough people and creators out there that are doing it with those other events. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I think I even heard, did someone mention that some witness saw Brian with his shoes off or something? That's of course another the whole shoe thing could be a tennis shoes or they could be off. Then you have Aiden Fucci that was carrying his tennis shoes, and his mom asked him several times in the Tristan Bailey case, why did you take your shoes off? Why were you wearing your Nike shoes? I mean, again, it sounds ridiculous, but that's because it is. But it's not, because you'll see him over and over and over again. And the truth is in the patterns. The truth is in consistency. Birkenstocks, swamp liver. Okay, so enough with the shoes. Do you guys, if you guys followed the Watts case, do you remember that story that came out towards the beginning about a guy named Michael Turtle Kelly that claimed that he was married to or engaged to Nicole Kessinger, but then it ended up, being some sort of just, rumor? I just want to see how many of you guys remember that. Hey, Capri. Right, Christy? Hey, Shadow Dancer. Yeah, it was a guy that came out. He claimed his name was Michael Turtle Kelly, and that he was married to Nicole Kessinger. Well, it ended up being a rumor and a lie, but I just there's a point that I'm getting to, but I wanted to just see how many of you remember that story so that you guys aren't totally lost when I continue with it. If you guys don't remember, then I'll pull up the Reddit story if I can find it real quick. Nobody remembers that? Or am I just on like a super long delay? Hey, Collins. Okay, so then I'll go over that real quick, because if I'm correct, this is going to be very, very interesting. You remember Ashley? Okay. All right, let me see if I can find it real quick. Okay, so this is from True Crime Rocket Science. I pulled this one up because Reddit's a mess, so I'll read the synopsis here. I think this is it. I hope. Maybe not. Hey, Kristen. Not much, just a little bit of symbolism, but I just got started. So this is from Reddit. It says, what's the connection between Michael Kelly, which is Michael Turtle Kelly, and NK? This was always a lost point to me, but I am pretty positive that the detectives never asked a pointed question on accident. Okay, whatever that means. So basically, I'm not going to read all these Reddit things. Basically, this guy, Michael Turtle Kelly, like I said earlier, was spreading these rumors that he was married to Nicole Kessinger. It turned out being just a lie, and I'm going to show you why it's a lie. What is that woman doing? Why is she flashing? I'm like, what is that? It doesn't look like a guy. Okay, okay, so come to find out, Michael Turtle Kelly, the one that was claiming to be married to Nicole Kessinger, his real name is actually Jonathan Lee Riches. So if you can look him up on Wikipedia, he's, kind of well known. Not like a good thing, not in a good way. Says Jonathan Lee Riches, born December 27, 1976, is a convicted fraudster known for the many lawsuits he has filed in various United States district courts. Riches was incarcerated at Federal Medical Center, Lexington, Kentucky, for wire fraud under the terms of a plea bargain. His release date was April 30, 2012. He was arrested for violating his federal probation in December 2012, when he left the Eastern District of the state of Pennsylvania without permission. He allegedly drove to Connecticut and impersonated the uncle of Adam Lanza, the shooter in the Mandy Brook Elementary School incident. Why didn't I use that before? Incident instead of pew pew pew. Dang it. Anyways, it's all good. Okay. Which is also an orchestrated event, in my opinion. Okay, there's enough evidence to support that. There's enough channel creators out there that have covered it. I will not cover it on YouTube. It's just I just won't go there because it's just one of those things that are not allowed to be talked about on this platform, unfortunately. So pretty much, in a nutshell, this guy he's a fraud, obviously. He will impersonate celebrities. He also inserts himself into these true crime, not only true crime, but these high profile tragic events that get all these, this mainstream media attention. And he'll implant himself almost into the narrative or try to do it, just like with how he claimed to have been married to Nicole Kessinger. He also impersonated himself as that officer who name I won't mention either, but he ended up putting a knee on somebody and allegedly killing him. He impersonated him. And I almost thought it was him at first too. It was actually pretty good. But so what he does again is he goes and he inserts himself somehow or another in order to sway the narrative or to confuse mainstream media, whatever it is. He's a fraud. Bottom line, okay? Now, do you guys remember? I think it's been a while now, but that whole big thing with the release of the jail phone calls in the Watts case. It was released on Facebook. It was like advertised all over the place, and it showed Cindy and Ronnie and Jamie all talking to Chris, allegedly in prison. Well, one of the, and let me see if I can also find that as well, one of the producers of that whole jail prison phone call, documentary, whatever it was, one of the producers is Jonathan Lee Riches, the fraudster. So what are the odds that this impersonator fraud is inserting himself into a lot of these other orchestrated events as well? So when I was watching the footage, let me pull it back up, and I could be wrong. I would have to compare some more pictures, but I'm gonna pull up a picture of him after I play this. But I'm watching it and I see him turn around and I'm like, is that Jonathan Lee Riches? It could very well be. And you notice how the flip-flop banner is just right in, center screen? Okay. When he impersonated that officer that allegedly killed that guy by putting his knee on him, he was wearing a Trump hat that said "Make America Great Again." Well, now he has, I can't tell because it's kind of blurry and it's to the side, but it says "Make something, something, something." So it's like a MAGA hat, but obviously the words are changed a little bit. So I also found that interesting. But let me see if I can pull up a picture from Google and put it side to side and see if it's actually him. Hey, real. Let's see if I can find that. Oops, the side view of him. Come on. What are you doing to me? Sorry guys, give me 1 second. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but Ashley. I know. There's nothing wrong with the name Lee. So I just want to, because there's been a couple people, they're like, my middle name's Lee. What does that mean? You know, I'm like, there's nothing wrong with the name Lee whatsoever. It's these you know, elite and whoever it is that are trying to control everything. They're the ones who are ruining the name or these names. And just like the number 13 is not bad. The number 33 is not evil, right? Nor is the number 666. They're just numbers, but they make those numbers, you know, evil or seem evil because they're associated with corrupt people and occultists, right? So again, there's nothing wrong with the name Lee. There's nothing wrong with the name Nicole. So yeah, so don't think that at all. I don't know why it keeps taking me back to this. Okay. I could save it and then pull it up. But then by that time, okay, forget it. I will I will get the picture and I'll put it
Jonathan Lee Riches.
Whoa.
This right here, people, is a lawsuit I filed in 2008, December 1st. Jonathan Lee Riches versus the Reverend Jim Jones, People Temple of Guyana, and the Reverend Jim Jones, if you remember the Jim Jones story. That case number was filed in the Southern District of Florida. Case number 0714389-CVJAG. It's right here. Handwritten, by the way. Handwritten. Alright, I'm going to read you about this lawsuit that I filed. I'm going to actually read the contents of the lawsuit.
Okay, so that's him talking about his lawsuits. But I did not mean to play that. Sorry. Hey, Larry. I don't think this is the same one. It doesn't look like the same guy. I'm just trying to find the picture of the story of him in the MAGA hat. That's his actual, like, filing charges? Okay, weird. Okay, so anyways, that's another rabbit hole. But my point is, why is this fraud popping up in all of what I believe are these orchestrated events, right? And swaying opinions and being I don't know what he's doing, you know. But he, 100%, without a doubt, he's a fraud that likes to insert himself into these tragic events. And I'm almost certain that that is him right there. Not 100%. I would have to do the side by side. But I'm almost positive it's him. Let's also not forget about the 13 right here in the middle of the screen. Okay, cut, take, moving on. There's a better image of him. That's him. Yeah, see, look, make Jonathan great again. I don't know. Is that... never mind. I get it. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, not maggot. MAGA. Hey, Callie. Hey, Vincina. Yeah, that's him. So here he is, after all these lawsuits, somehow or another, still inserting himself into these high-profile, tragic cases. And not only that, but he also was one of the producers of, like I said, those Watts tapes that were released alongside another producer that has not a not so great history, guess you could say. Has also been in trouble with the law. And based off of my theory, especially when this fraudster guy is the producer of these tapes released, which in my opinion, the Watts case is all orchestrated. It's pretty much a movie on the world stage. So what are the odds, right? And I'm sure you guys have probably seen this. Again, I didn't record the whole thing. I'm just going to scroll through it. To me, it's all ridiculous. Oh, and this might be stretching, but, and the quality is not great. I do apologize. But there's like I don't know if it's a pine cone or if it's like a pineapple. But if you go and you look at the HD footage, I counted them. There's 13 full hearts inside that little pineapple. 13 hearts. Fox News 13. Right? How many times does the number 13 or 33 have to pop up until it stops being coincidental? Granted, yes, it's just a number. It comes up all the time. But when they're happening in all of the, or showing up so many times in the same narrative, in the same area, then that's when it's like, okay, something's going on here. And not only that, but when I keep seeing them over and over and over again in these tragic, high-profile cases or events, and especially the ones that don't add up and have many red flags and holes and inconsistencies in its narrative. I'm not questioning the ones that add up. That would be ridiculous, right? But why is there so much documentation with this case? And all the other cases, don't even get me started on the Wells case. But it's in my opinion, this doesn't happen. It's not real life. Okay, like, again, why would all these people be allowed on this property? Why would law enforcement, if this guy is under suspicion, or if he's a suspect and they're watching him, why would they want all this mainstream media attention focused on this? To interfere with their investigation, right? Well, they wouldn't, unless you wanted to document the whole thing on purpose so that you could get this narrative out there to as many people as possible and get that, widespread attention and really pull people in and pull at heartstrings and sway emotions, which I'm already seeing it, I'm already seeing happening by people going, this is ridiculous. Why are they searching for Brian and not searching for Gabby? And people are getting pissed off. And now they're saying that law enforcement is doing they're incompetent or whatever. It's It's all to distract and confuse you guys. And that's why everything is so, like in this case is already, there's so much documentation, just like the Watts case. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, but why is it that only some cases get so much attention? Not just, a lot, but a lot of attention, right? When we know that women and children go missing every day, women and children are murdered all the time. So why is it that only some cases get so much mainstream attention? There's a reason for it. Hey Chica, I'm very sorry to hear that. Hope she's okay. Poor thing. Hey Shay. Yeah, he totally looks like the pizza guy off of Home Alone, huh? It's funny. I know it's hard to hear, but there's not really anything going on right now, so. But I mean, can those shoes, I said it before, but can those shoes be any more right in your face? Yeah, it makes sense, Cecile. Jonathan Lee Riches. Exactly. So it's him. It's definitely him. And yet here he is. He's got all these lawsuits against him, right? For impersonating celebrities and inserting himself into these tragic events, mainstream events. But here he is, dead center, big old back of his head. And another one of these, it's too early to say with certainty, but I'm already seeing so many of the same characteristics, just like in the Watts case, and just like all the other orchestrated events, even though they're all different. Doesn't matter. I'm not sure which one you're referring to, Cecile. I'm sorry. I tried to scroll up, but can you... Oh, yeah, the Jonathan... Yeah, about his hat? I mean, why are these people just allowed to stand out? Like, I mean, they're literally on their doorstep. And they're supposed to be doing some sort of an investigation? Or Brian is a person of interest? Like... can somebody please explain to me if this is real life? Because to me, this doesn't seem like real life. To have all these people, media, random people, even children, standing there on this front. I mean, what if this Brian guy, right, is dangerous? What if he has a weapon? What if he was inside the home? Right? And there's kids standing on the front yard. I mean, what if there's a shootout? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just trying to make a point. But why are these people allowed to be there? Unless they want people to see this. They want the public to see that these individuals all here standing there because they want answers. They're demanding answers, right? And just like everybody else, they want answers. Where's Brian? Where's Gabrielle?
Where is Gabby? Good morning. Our family answers. Audrey family. Cooperating with authorities. Where is Gabby? Where is...
Oh, look who it is. Look who's enticing everyone, right? Jonathan Lee Riches, the fraudster, who inserts himself, like I said, into these orchestrated events. And here he is, inciting the crowd to, where's Gabby? Where's Gabby? So they all start shouting. Playing his role, right?
It's Gabby.
There's a better picture of it. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 hearts in that little pineapple or whatever it is. You could also consider that a pyramid or triangle shape. That's what I'm talking about. It's not that I'm not going to say that I'm not crazy, because that'll probably make it sound like I'm crazy. Because if anybody says I'm not crazy, more than likely means that they're crazy. Or if they say there's no conspiracy here, nothing to see here, moving on, there's more than likely a conspiracy. I would name another example, but I'm not going to go there because I'm just not going to go there. But although it's a good one. Hey, Francesca. So again, it's like, am I looking for this symbolism and these numbers? Yes, but in all reality, you really don't have to look that hard to spot them because they're literally in plain sight. Again, why am I seeing 13 come up so much? Why am I seeing double numbers, double letters? All this other symbolism, and there's more. I'm not even finished yet. But 13 hearts in that little fruit, whatever. I don't even know what it is. Pine cone? Don't know. Don't care. All I know is that there's 13 hearts. Also, on each side of it, you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 33, duality. Again, I cannot make this stuff up.
There's evidence.
Oh, that cop, by the way, I wish, actually, Swamp Lover, you might even think he looks familiar, but if Scotty was here, he might agree with me that this cop right here looks familiar. Could just be me, but just thought I'd note that. Why aren't these police officers removing these people from the property? It's private property, right? Even so why aren't they pushing him back at least? I mean, it's just so unrealistic to me. Let's zoom in on the shoes. Gotta really get that shoe symbolism going.
There's not a car that says forensics over there, is there?
I'm sorry?
There's not a car that says forensics pulled up, is there?
I did not see it coming up.
Somebody said so.
I don't know. Should we? What's that? What? I don't know what to call them. I mean, at this point, if you want to do it now, we can. What's 5:30 for them? I'm guessing that's 10 minutes from now. I don't know.
Yeah, he should, Swamp Lover. Terrible. Like, what's Big Boss Man doing over here? He's not doing anything. He's just standing there letting these people shout and not pushing back, the mainstream media and the cameras. He's like, man, I'm out of this. I'm out of here. I don't even want to hear this shouting.
Let me run to my car.
Get them all soaked.
I think this goes on for an hour too. So we have over 2 hours of footage in this case alone, not even including all of the videos and images from their social media accounts, right? Okay, I'm gonna fast forward through this. There's no point. Nothing's happening. Oh, you see that little gecko or whatever it is? It's like across the wall. What's up, little buddy? He's like, he knows what's up. Okay, so can someone please in the chat tell me if this is the vehicle that they were talking about that's been parked in the Brian's parents' driveway for a few days, right? This Mustang? I'm pretty sure that that's what they're going through right now is the Mustang that was parked there for days. No gloves, if that's the case. I don't know if that's like the undercover cop car or what. I guess we'll find out if one of you guys know. But what's interesting is I don't know if Melissa's still here, but on Melissa's channel, Brittany brought up, allegedly Brittany brought up how she wants to go over all the symbolism in the Denver International Airport, where they have the gargoyles and all the Masonic stuff. Literally in plain sight, obviously. They're definitely not hiding that, but it's almost, in my opinion, it's like mockery. Like, oh yeah, we're considered like to be this Masonic state, and so we're just going to put it all over just right in front of you, we're going to put it all over our airport. And then people are going to go, oh my God, that's crazy. It's so like conspiratorial, and it's so like Masonic, and so like so creepy. But again, in my opinion, it's mockery. But anyway, so also recently with these orchestrated events, RV Truth, that channel that talks about that I mention all the time, he like I do with these true crime cases, the symbolism hidden in plain sight with other orchestrated events outside of true crime. He made I think he's made 2 videos actually, but there's one in particular where he talks about the white horse symbolism. Now, if you guys remember, and I know you do, in the Watts case, it takes place in Colorado. What's the Denver Broncos logo? It's a Bronco. It's a white horse. You have that giant horse statue outside of the Mile High Stadium. He made a whole video on the white horse symbolism that can be found in these, not only in the orchestrated events, like I said, but also you'll see it a lot in images with elite or powerful people and other celebrities that are all representing this white horse symbolism. And it's just one after another after another. So I find it interesting that there's this Mustang that everyone's talking about that's sitting in the driveway for a couple days. And what's on the back of the Mustang? It's a Mustang. It's a Bronco. Whatever you want to call it, it's a horse. And it's been sitting there. And it's a part of this narrative. And I know that sounds crazy. I know if you're new here, you're going to think that you're going to think I'm crazy. But I assure you, I'm not. Even though I just said I wouldn't say that earlier. Again, they literally put this stuff in plain sight. And if you know what to look for, it's so very obvious. And almost ridiculous at times. How obvious it is. Excuse me. But the majority of people will have no idea what's going on. And it's literally right in front of their faces. But these people are sick, okay? The ones that are controlling orchestrating these tragic events to push multiple agendas onto the public, because they can legally do it, mind you. And I will keep mentioning it over and over and over again until I have to. But that Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012 which if this doesn't go too long, I'm almost done here, but I would like to play this ODD TV video for you that talks about everything that I talk about with these true crime orchestrated events. But he's going to go into that Hegelian dialectic a little bit in the video that I always talk about, as well as the how they orchestrate these events to sway opinions of the public, to induce fear, and pretty much control us, to take our rights away, and they literally have to trick us to do that with that Hegelian dialectic. But he also goes into, that's what I was saying earlier, that's what I was getting at earlier, is they can legally do this. They can get away with it. They can make up any news story that they want, whether it be just a local news story in a little town. They can make it up and try to push propaganda and sway opinions of people in that small community or city, or whether it be all the way up to 9/11. Okay, they can legally do it because of that Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012, which again made it legal for the mainstream media and the U.S. government to push propaganda and lie to the public without any liability at all whatsoever, or have it traced back to them at all. Now, is everything that the news puts out fake? Probably not, but a lot of it that's coming out is it's not real. It's again, it's there to push propaganda onto the public. So you have to just try to figure out, and that's why it's so important to think for yourself and try to figure out which one of these or which news stories are real and which are not. And that's what I'm been trying to do for the past 2.5 years, is to point out all the stuff that I've learned over the years from other people that are way more experts at these events than I am, but from watching their content and doing my own research, I'm able to spot these events very, very easily. And I'm also not being duped. My opinions aren't being swayed by fear and emotion. And so that's why I'm trying to wake people up, so that not so many people are being duped anymore, because it's only going to get worse from here on out. So I just want to, sorry, I cropped it out here. I know you guys know what the back of a Mustang looks like, but just to show proof here. Okay, so here the camera guy, right? Fox News camera guy is focused on this Mustang, and what's right here? This Bronco, this white horse that RV Truth talks about all the time and points out in his video. And I'll try to find that video for you guys before the end of the stream and post it into the chat. And yes, Kels, you're right. The 11 right here, and then there's obviously the 11 on the other side, represents duality, side by side. They love their duality. They also love to do this with numbers. They have your 4343. They love that, pattern type thing, whether it be, 4433, 4343, 1212, whatever, 2020. You drop the zeros in numerology, then you have the duality of the twos. I mean, it's never ending with these people, you guys, and it's so ridiculous. And it's literally, they're literally mocking us, okay? And they're fooling millions of people with these orchestrated events. And again, the majority of people have no idea.
Hi, I can hear you very faintly.
Just like the 666 tattoo that's in the shape of a triangle on the officer's hand on the body cam footage that I pointed out in my last live stream. It's stuff like that that's literally right in front of our faces. And it should infuriate anybody if they can see it.
Yes, I can do that. Hey guys, we're over here outside the laundry home. As you can see, a large crowd has gathered here. We'll pan over just so you can get an idea of how many people have gathered outside the home. But according to Northport Police, they are currently speaking with the Laundry family at their request. And at this time, they are not speaking with Brian. They said that more details will be available when they have them. Now, we've been here for maybe about an hour or so at this point. We did see at one point 2 officers come out of the house. They went back in with some brown bags. As it sounds like you were just watching, they went inside this one car and were doing what appeared to be a search of some sort. So we're still waiting for more details.
Not wearing any gloves. I mean, how do they know that's not going to be a potential place where maybe Gabrielle, I mean, hopefully not, right? Based off the official narrative. What if that was the car that was used to transport her body in? And here the officers are going through this vehicle, the suspicious vehicle that I guess they're claiming because they're going through it, with no gloves on. Don't worry about, potential evidence, right?
From Northport Police on exactly what they're speaking to the family about and what is indeed happening here right now. We will bring you more details as we get them, but that's what we have right now, the latest here from Northport tonight.
All right. Cut. That was weird. Awkward. But let me ask you, has this footage, not only this footage, but the body cam footage as well, how many people has that footage pulled, grasped the attention of, right, to this case? If they didn't do all this and release this footage of the body cam and have all this media here at the house, it wouldn't draw in the attention that it needs, to get the amount of people to focus on this case. Do you know what I'm saying? So if the body cam footage, just like the Watts case, if all that stuff wasn't released, do you really think it would have been that popular of a case? No, it wouldn't have. But what it does is it pulls people in. It's just like a movie. It's like, well, what's going to happen next? Where's Brian? Where's Gabrielle? Why aren't we getting answers? Why did the police department seem incompetent again? It's like there's a reason why this footage is released.
Was it? Okay, good. Yeah. How many people showed up? There was a lot of people out there, right? Yeah. You wouldn't have gone.
I don't know why the sound went out, so. Pay attention to hand sign, or the people that are right in the focus of the on the screen, just like the court officer in the Watts case, making all those occult hand signs that I showed in that video that I made. The Watts case symbolism. I mean, just not even hiding it. Triangle after triangle after triangle. It's like, how more obvious can you be? I don't think they can be any more obvious. And still, the majority of people will never notice it or have no idea. Not saying that this officer is going to do any hand signs, but I'm just saying, just pay attention to stuff like that. And again, this isn't, I know that the symbolism isn't like concrete evidence, but again, how many times do things need to happen for it to not be coincidental anymore? And why is all this symbolism and all these inconsistencies coming up? The same ones, these same red flags that I talk about all the time. Why do they keep coming up in all these high profile mainstream media tragic events over and over and over again? Like, the evidence is in the patterns, you guys. Now it's dark. That's how long they've been there. Like, really? Okay, so that's it. Like I said, I don't want to watch the whole thing. They're just standing around. We got to see Jonathan Lee Riches, which is very, very interesting to me. That only, in my opinion, supports my theory even more. The fact that he's showing up in another one of these high-profile events. So, again, the symbolism is in plain sight. You just have to know what to look for, and you don't even have to look for it. It's always the same things over and over and over again. And that's why I always recommend going to check out RV Truth's channel, because he does talk about the same things, like literally the same things that I've brought up in these true crime cases, especially the Watts case, like the colors and the numbers and the like the bell symbolism. Just, it's overwhelming. No, Courtney, I don't. I mean, I have a Facebook, but I don't use it. I mean, I don't even go on there hardly myself. I just have it to, to keep contacts and in touch with people. But I don't have like a Facebook group or community. I just have my Discord that people can sign up for and go to if they choose to. Okay, so I've already been live for an hour and 15 minutes. There are some of you from D-Live, like Kelsey and Swamp Lover, that have probably seen this video several times, because I've played it several times, not several times, but a couple times on D-Live. They also follow ODD TV. He, like I said earlier, he's makes videos and content pointing out the same stuff that RV Truth does as well, but in a little bit more, and sometimes different things. But RV Truth, yes, I will, Dakota. I will put his link in the chat. Unless Swamp Lover or Kelsey, you can grab ODD TV's channel link for me. That would be super awesome of you, because I can hardly multitask as it is. But one way or another, I will get it in there for you, yes. But so yeah, since we are an hour into it, I want to play this. I tried playing this on a stream a few weeks ago, but I didn't have it pre-recorded, so there was a ton of buffering issues. So I ended up just not playing it and posting the link. But I know that a lot of times, even though that everybody should, because it's really important when I talk about these other channels, and an Ole Diamondguard, but I dropped the link, and then so I don't know if anybody went and watched it. So I want to I did pre-record it. Hopefully there's no buffering issues, or it didn't buffer when I was recording it. I did step away, but I want to play this video because it's super important, and it shows that I'm not the only one that's talking about all this stuff or trying to wake people up to it. I just happen to be, as far as I know, the only one that's doing it on YouTube anyways. I know that there's some other people on different platforms that are pointing out certain things about them being orchestrated, but I think that I'm the one that's doing the most extensive coverage and trying to point out these true crime cases for what they really are. So it's important that you guys see that there's other people out there, there's other creators, other people that are more than, way more about it even than I do, that are trying to wake people up as well. So that being said, it is kind of long. If you don't want to stay, I completely understand. But again, I can't stress enough how important it is, because he does talk about all the same stuff that I've been talking about, especially recently over the past few months, where I've just sound super repetitive, but it's important. So that being said, let's watch it. Thank you, Swamp Lover. I knew I kept you around for a reason. Yeah, Dakota, that's awesome. Somebody sent me a link to Enchanted Life Path's video that they made about the Summer Wells case, and I was like super excited because they did such a great job. I mean, I started seeing Symbolism, but I mean, I just didn't have a chance to do it because it just got so much. It's so much of a circus. But even they pointed out ones that I probably never would have even noticed, like the Pied Piper one with the pastor playing it in the middle of his interview. I mean, it's just so much symbolism in that Summer Wells case. It's insane. So I was, like I said, super excited when one of my subscribers sent me that video, and I did comment on Enchanted Life Path and asked them if I could play their video on my live stream. I don't know if they responded or not. I haven't been on Odyssey in a while, but yes, and I did check out some of their other videos, and they're really good. So I will try to post that link in the chat as well for you guys, so you can check out that Summer Wells video as well as other content that they've put out. So okay. Thank you, Callie. And again, I apologize if you have seen this video, but it doesn't hurt to watch it again. I probably will notice things that I didn't notice before, and I've seen it several times, so it doesn't hurt.
ODD TV. Never sleep again.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Order out of chaos. What we are witnessing all across America and the rest of the world right now is pure chaos. People are sitting in their homes right now watching the news, or driving somewhere in their car with the mask on, listening to the news on the radio, and they're in a state of fear. They're angry. They're scared. They're everything the puppeteers want them to be. What we see going on is all completely orchestrated. This is an old trick used to gain more power. From Pearl Harbor to 9/11, history, or his story, is littered with instances of governments using alleged terrorist attacks to justify invasions or suspend civil liberties indefinitely. Order out of chaos, an occult motto of which the vast majority of the world have never heard before, is in fact the motto and creed of the 33rd degree of Freemasonry, a secret society of which almost all our political leaders, both past and present, are devout members, and if not, they still fall in line with the agenda. It doesn't matter. The trick of creating chaos and then seizing power under the pretense of putting things back in order is a tried and true method of deception and manipulation. It's also referred to as the Hegelian dialect, after the philosopher George Hegel, who wrote about its effectiveness. He described it as thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Others have described it as problem, reaction, solution. In that firstly you create the problem, then secondly you fan the flames to get a reaction, then thirdly you provide a solution. The solution that they wanted to achieve in the first place, but wouldn't have been able to achieve under normal circumstances. George Orwell described it as reality control. In his book 1984, he said, "The rocket bombs which fell daily on London were probably fired by the government of Oceania itself, just to keep the people frightened." The core values and beliefs of the financially elite, self-appointed.
Okay, so that Hegelian dialectic that he talks about is again the what I've been saying over and over and over again as to why they are orchestrating these true crime events. And not only true crime, but like you said, terrorist attacks and these other tragic events. So they have to trick us in order to take our rights away, or for us to give up some freedoms. Now, it's going to, the agendas or the motives are all going to differ depending on the event, because they're all different. So they're all going to be catered to that specific event. Okay. So, for example, with the pew 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 events, right? They can't just come out and say, "Hey, we're going to take away those things that you have a right to, based off the Constitution, to have in your home and on your person to protect yourself and your family from any harm," right? They can't just come out and say, "Hey, we're going to take those away from you." They know that would never work. You can't just come out and say that you're going to take away the public's, U.S. citizens, their rights from them that they've had for, years and years. So they have to orchestrate these tragic events like the pew 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 events. So they create the problem, which is the shooting. Dang it. Oh well, doesn't matter. It's over with. So they have to orchestrate it and create those, and then we, the public, since it's so tragic, we then react with our emotions. We don't think logically. We just react like, "Oh my God, this is terrible. Please do something about all these innocent lives being taken from these pew 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 events," right? So they literally turn to the ones who created who orchestrated it for a solution, not realizing that they were the ones who actually created the problem in the first place. And in comes your solution that everyone's begging for, right? To stop these innocent lives from being taken. What's the solution? Pew 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 control, right? It's also to pass laws. It's also to induce fear. They want everyone to be constantly in fear all the time. So if you go to, your child going here might not make it tomorrow. If you have a picture perfect family like the Watts, it might not be so picture perfect, right? Your 14-year-old kid like Aiden Fucci is capable of murdering his classmate and even potentially you. So they want people scared and in fear all the time. These events are to sway opinions, to sway emotions, and to push propaganda onto U.S. citizens and literally trick us into not only controlling us, but to taking away rights and passing laws and yada yada.
overlords of the world are on display all across our plane of existence for those with eyes to see. Besides Hollywood's blatant mind control techniques, their methods of subconscious brainwashing, and even their routine predictive programming, the satanic cabal have hidden their plans for humanity in plain sight.
Predictive programming, just like all of the connections in American Horror Story and the Watts case. And that's why that American Horror Story trailer came on Nate's TV. It was not by accident. It was not a sign from, Shanann. It was put there on purpose because they wanted us to see it, to go and watch that show and subconsciously, put their little Easter eggs into our heads and literally put the Watts narrative in plain sight. And that's what, ODD is going to talk about right here. The predictive programming.
Numerous different ways. The message is always clear and always consistent. It's a message that the established empire of evil live by. That message is order out of chaos. The Great Seal. First thing you want to look at is the back of the US dollar bill. Right off top, you see the Illuminati all-seeing eye. This is claimed to be the Eye of Providence, which translates to the Eye of God. But this is the Eye of Horus, or what I refer to as the Eye of Lucifer, the Lightbringer. Illuminati, enlightened ones. Lucifer, the light bearer. You can see how those go together. Above the eye is the phrase, Annuit Coeptus. The official translation as given by the U.S. State Department, U.S. Mint, and U.S. Treasury is He has favored our undertakings. When they say He, they imply God, but not the God most people think. The God they're referring to is none other than the God of this world, according to the Bible. Satan, Lucifer. Call it what you want, argue if it's real or not, but this is what they believe, and if they don't, they sure do a fantastic job at putting on extremely intricate and massive rituals all the time in his honor. From award shows,
since we're giving a rock award tonight, who wants to pray to the devil with me? Dear Dark Lord Satan, hope everything's good with you. I'm doing fine myself. Just want to say hi and ask you to grant tonight's nominees continued success in the music industry.
Thank you to Satan for giving me inspiration on how to play this role.
Olympic opening ceremonies,
Okay, so I wanted to pause it there. In my symbolism video on the Watts case, I made two, but in one of them, first one I made, the phoenix, the mythological bird, the phoenix, is found throughout occultic and Freemasonic text, and is worshipped by these occultists, right? Where did Shanann fly into just a couple days before the event took place? Phoenix, Arizona. So when I see and hear ODD TV and RV Truth pointing out this symbolism, and then I see it in the Watts case, that's when I take a step back and I go, okay, so now I'm seeing the phoenix bird. I know that it's an occultic, used in occult, text all the time, and is, worshipped by these Satanists, whatever you want to call them. That's when I'm going to start, again, looking at things from a different perspective and start looking for some of this other symbolism. And you don't even have to look for it. It's literally, like I said, in plain sight. And if you check out RV Truth's channel, he's going to sound just like me, because he's going to say that over and over again, how much they put it in plain sight.
To Super Bowl halftime shows. And music videos. Even random events like the time they opened the world's longest tunnel in Switzerland called the Gotthard Base Tunnel.
The goat head, Baphomet, or as I'm sure Swamp Lover is going to say in the chat, because he probably won't be able to help himself, Baphomet. Very funny. Go ahead, get it out of your system, Swamp Lover. It's fine. But Baphomet, I point out in my Watts video, the symbolism video, the two statues on each side of the television down in the family room next to the kitchen look exactly like the staff, the snakes, the two snakes wrapped around a staff in that Baphomet is holding, the goat of Mendez. Very, very occultic.
So, they're constantly paying homage to this god, and that includes the Great Seal artwork on the back of the most circulated currency in the world. On the bottom of the pyramid, you see the Roman numerals for 1776. This is the year the Bavarian Illuminati was founded. The Bavarian Illuminati champions an owl for its main symbol because owls are extremely vigilant and can see in the dark. They represent knowledge, wisdom, perspicacity, and erudition. Hidden on the front of the dollar bill is a little owl tucked into the top right corner. If you flip it upside down, it looks like a skull and crossbones. Highly unlikely to be a coincidence, being that Satanists and Luciferians thrive on inversion. At the very bottom of the Great Seal is the phrase Novus Ordo Seclorum, which means New Order of the Ages. In other words, New World Order.
New World Order. New World Order. New World Order. New World Order. A New World Order.
New World Order.
New World Order.
New World Order.
And that Great Seal of the United States has on it Novus Order Seclorum, a new order for the centuries, for the ages, forever.
Which really isn't new at all. We've been living under this New World Order for centuries. When America was founded, or taken over, it was called the New World. Now, on the obverse of the Great Seal is what's believed to be an American eagle, but the fact of the matter is that it's a phoenix. In the book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages by 33rd Degree Freemason Manly P. Hall, it states, the hand of the mysteries controlled in the establishment of the new government, for the signature of the mysteries may still be seen on the Great Seal of the United States of America. Careful analysis of the seal discloses a mass of occult and Masonic symbols, chief among them the so-called American Eagle. Only the student of symbolism can see through the subterfuge and realize that the American Eagle upon the Great Seal is but a conventionalized phoenix. When you zoom in real close on the eye of the bird, it's very reptilian-like. Normally the eyes of birds contained round pupils. I only mention this because every line, every detail on the Great Seal was well thought out, and there weren't any accidents. Anyway, on the ribbon being held by the beak of the phoenix is the phrase E pluribus unum, which means out of many, one. And this is my main reason for bringing up the dollar bill in the first place. The Latin phrase goes hand in hand with the Masonic term, order out of chaos. Currently, in the New World Order in which we find ourselves trying to survive, there are many countries, many governments, many corporations, many currencies, many religions, and many ways of life. Out of all these great many things, the ultimate goal of the New World Order is to arrive at one single replacement for each. They want one single government for the entire world to take the place of the many governments we have now. One single currency for the whole world to use in the buying and selling of goods. One single religious belief system for all of humanity to adhere to, etc. And for all these singular entities, a one world leader to direct them. The way that these one world institutions will be achieved is through chaos. And since there isn't much chaos on Earth, as the mainstream would have you believe, this chaos is orchestrated by those that wish to see this one world authority come to fruition. All the more reason for the phoenix to be symbolized on the seal. Legends of the mythical creature say it dies in a show of flames and combustion and is reborn from its ashes. The idea is emblematic of the desired outcome of those that rule from the shadows. They want to take the world down in a show of flames and have it be reborn as the one world order. The ones engineering this plot love putting the truth in plain sight for all to see. The back of the dollar bill is just the beginning, but still important to understand, being that it represents the main objective of the occult elite. Georgia Guidestones. The Guidestones are a granite monument that was unveiled on March 22, 1980 in Elbert County, Georgia. That date would suggest that the secret society Skull and Bones played a role in the creation of the stones. Researchers believe the secret society, the Rosicrucians, are behind these stones because the commissioner's name, or at least the pseudonym that he gave the company to make the stones, is R.C. Christian, which is very similar to Rosie Cross Christian, Rosicrucian. 10 guidelines are engraved on the stones in 8 different languages: English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, Chinese, and Russian. Due to its highly disturbing nature, number 1 is most often the focus of the 10 guidelines. It says, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. What makes this so unsettling is that in order to have 500 million or less people, there would need to be at least a 90% reduction in the current world population. With our fluoridated water supply, chemically contaminated air due to chemtrails, prescription medication, vaccines, and most of the food and drinks you find in the majority of grocery stores being on par with poison, it's pretty clear that depopulation is on the to-do list. This monument also serves as a compass, a calendar, and a clock. A slot on the center pillar allows one to see the sunrise on the horizon during an equinox or a solstice. Another hole, drilled into a different spot on the same pillar, will always provide a view of the North Star on a clear night. And a small hole in the capstone serves as a sundial. At noon every day, a reading of where the sunbeam hits the center column allows one to pinpoint the exact day of the year. There's also a spot on the flagstone that says something about a time capsule, but neither the date for planting the time capsule or when to dig it up is filled out, so no one knows if anything is even under there. This project was extremely well planned and seems to serve as a form of lesser magic, predictive programming. These stones are putting off a powerful force into the collective consciousness of humanity. On one hand, we know it's there and really don't want it to come true. But on the other hand, because we know it's there and we give thought to it, the likelihood of it becoming a reality increases. At least that's the idea behind it. But again, anyone with two brain cells to bang together can see the deliberate attack on human health. Can people be healthy? Yes. Is it hard? Not really. But society is heavily engineered, and everybody is subjected to constant mental conditioning. People live unhealthy lifestyles and are generally victims of allopathic medicine. Denver New World Airport. Denver International Airport, also called New World Airport because inside the atrium, known as the Great Hall, there's a Freemasonic capstone that says Denver New World Airport. Underneath the capstone is a time capsule.
March 19th, 319, Survey 319, ring a bell? Possibly.
Not to be opened until 2094. Everyone knows about the sinister-looking horse on the way into the airport. Some refer to him as Blucifer, and it's known for its creepy appearance and the fact that its creator, Luis Jimenez, died when a section of it fell on him at his studio while he was working on it. Seems odd that they'd still use the piece after retrieving his dead body from underneath it, but kind of appropriate being that it's eerily similar to the pale horse of the apocalypse. It is the fourth horse named Death in the book of Revelation in the Bible. Anyway, as you walk inside the airport, you're greeted by spooky-looking gargoyles sitting in suitcases. Conspiracies have surrounded this airport since it opened in 1995. Namely, the idea that it has a deep underground military base where top-secret projects and experiments take place. It would also serve as a fallout shelter for the elite if something cataclysmic were to happen. There's good reason to believe that this is true because the project was $2 billion over budget upon its completion. There's usually 4 murals inside the airport, but right now there's only 2. The murals tell a story of devastating events that lead to the creation of a one world order. In the first part of the story, we see a Nazi-like military figure wearing a gas mask, and he's armed with a scimitar and an AK-47. The blade is swished through the air, leaving a rainbow chemtrail that's polluting the air while people below are suffering from toxicity and genocide. The blade is then jabbed into a white dove, which Christianity and the Bible describe as the symbol of peace and love. On the lower right, you see buildings reminiscent of the Twin Towers that have been destroyed. This mural is one of the 2 pieces that go together titled "The Children of the World Dream of Peace," and has been temporarily taken down for renovations. It was removed in 2018 and is due to return in 2021. Same thing with the second part of the mural, where children of all nations hand over their weapons wrapped in their nation's flag to a German boy taking a hammer to the scimitar, while the masked soldier from the previous mural lays dead in the foreground. This is an obvious reference to the One World Order and everything this video is about. An extremely chaotic event, bringing about a harmonious order. And why is the Nazi soldier wearing a gas mask? What is he protecting himself from? Chemical warfare? Germ warfare, perhaps? Moving on to the last two murals, this set is titled In Peace and Harmony with Nature. The first of the two is set against a backdrop of horrific destruction and the extinction of various species, including whales and sea turtles. Only children are seen in the center sobbing over 3 open caskets. The left casket contains an African girl. A native girl is in the center casket, and a white Judeo-Christian girl on the right. This represents the end of different spiritual outlooks and different religions. In the second part of this set, we see children dancing in celebration as the One World religion begins, paying tribute to the illuminated lotus blossom in the center, while a Quetzalcoatl flies around above. Quetzalcoatl means feathered serpent and was a symbol of enlightenment to Mesoamerican culture. This is a slick way of adding a representation of Lucifer, not to mention that the mythos of this bird had heavy connections with the morning star, Venus. Notice the dance line begins and is directed by the Scottish Rite Freemason. Last but not least, the name of the mural, again, is In Peace and Harmony with Nature. And what was the first guideline on the Georgia Guidestones? Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. This seems to be the order that it goes in. 1 and 2 depict chaotic events, and 3 and 4 depict order taking place after the chaos. I was recently at this airport with my lady, and we saw all sorts of posters everywhere that mock conspiracy theorists. They put these up while it's under construction. At one point, they even had a talking gargoyle that says, "Welcome to Illuminati headquarters."
That's a little too close for comfort, lady.
Oh, damn.
What, you never seen a talking gargoyle before? Welcome to Illuminati headquarters. I mean, Denver International Airport.
I don't know if it's still there or not, but strangely enough, I believe I was the first to dub this airport the headquarters of the Illuminati in my 2014 video, The Colorado Conspiracy, which I remade in 2016. You can still watch the remake on my channel. Bank of America. Prominently displayed in the lobby of the Bank of America's corporate center in Charlotte, North Carolina, are 3 frescoes filled with occult symbols. Even more unsettling is the fact that those images seem to predict events of a radical world change in the not-so-distant future, and they bear a striking resemblance to the murals at the Denver New World Airport. In the first painting, we see a young blonde boy standing on a Masonic checkerboard floor. Notice he looks a lot like the boy in the Denver airport mural, a little bit older here. He's standing in a Masonic pose. Notice his feet are at a 90-degree angle. There's a Masonic ritual from the handbook Duncan's Ritual and Monitor of Freemasonry that has the apprentice stand upright with his feet at a right angle. Here's a passage from the book. It's in the form of a question and answer. On your return to the lodge, where were you placed as the youngest entered apprentice? In the northeast corner, my feet forming a right angle, my body erect at the right hand of the worshipful master in the east, an upright man and mason, and it was given me strictly in charge ever to walk and act as such. Down the stairs below the boy are businessmen conversing and exchanging ideas while pointing at the Masonic boy. The boy's left eye is covered by some sort of transparent red thing. Behind the boy, there's a man sitting next to a burning bush, which is a reference to the burning bush of the Old Testament. The burning bush is of great importance in Masonic ritual, especially for the 33rd degree, whose members are considered to be near the burning bush. In the book, The Encyclopedia of Freemasonry by Albert G. Mackey, it says this: in the third Exodus, it is recorded that while Moses was keeping the flock of Jethro on Mount Horeb, the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush, and there communicated to him for the first time his ineffable name. This occurrence is commemorated in the burning bush or the royal ark degree. In all systems of antiquity, fire is adopted as a symbol of deity, and the burning bush, or the bush filled with fire which did not consume, whence came forth the tetragrammaton, the symbol of divine light and truth, is considered in the advanced degrees of Freemasonry, like the Orient in the lower, as the great source of true Masonic light. Wherefore, supreme councils of the 33rd degree date their balusters or official documents near the BB, or burning bush, to intimate that they are, in their own right, the exclusive source of all Masonic instruction. Behind the man with the burning bush is an Egyptian pyramid, the ultimate symbol of the mysteries in occult teachings. A strange feature of the painting is a woman trapped inside a see-through cube hanging from strings. This could represent many things. Maybe she's the common debt slave, stuck in the confines of the material world while being controlled by unseen forces. To the left of her are stairs, apparently leading to the heavens, a classic symbol representing the path of enlightenment through the mysteries of Masonry. In the sky is a black sun, another symbol of an esoteric significance. In alchemy, the black sun, or Sol Niger, is the name of the result of the first stage of the opus magnum. The alchemical magnum opus, or great work, starts with the blackening, which is the calcination of crude metals, and ends with their transmutation into pure gold. A black sun can also be found at the Denver airport on the floor in one area. The middle painting in the bank depicts a chaotic transition period that affects all parts of society and civilization. In this FEMA camp-like setting, we find military and religious figures, people protesting, and much more. The protesters' signs are blank, telling us that there isn't anything that can be said, or what people want to say doesn't matter. The street signs are also blank, letting us know that there isn't anywhere to go. At the left of the painting is a person wearing a biohazard suit, hinting at some kind of chemical warfare, or perhaps germ warfare, similar to the masked soldier in the Denver mural. At the top of this painting, you see the elite above circling free and naked in their wealth and disgusting power while being separated from the chaos below via the net and continuing to oversee. If you look closely, they take the shape of a six-pointed star. This represents the synagogue of Satan and the star of their god, Remphan. The final painting depicts the age of rebuilding after the chaos is over. What's left of the slave class is working underground. A worker above with a red cloth in his back pocket contemplates the work done while a giant rests in the hill. The sleeping giant is positioned similarly to that of the child in one of the Denver murals. These Bank of America paintings place heavy emphasis on the color red. This brings to mind the Rothschild family. Rothschild means red shield, and they very well could be in Colorado in this painting. Colorado means the color red, another tie to the Denver airport since Denver is in Colorado. The murals overall seem to correlate with what occultists call the great work, but instead of personal development, This transmutation has to do with humanity undergoing intense chaos as to arrive to an age of harmony and unity under a one world order. Cathedral of St. John the Divine. Despite being incomplete, the Cathedral of St. John the Divine is one of the world's largest cathedrals. It was featured on the cover of Masonic World in March of 1925. At the top of the building, in the center, is a pyramid with an all-seeing eye. As you might know, Masonry has been, through the ages, the keeper of the ancient mysteries, which are occult and esoteric teachings only communicated to the initiates. Occultists draw their teachings from ancient Egyptian, Babylonian, Kabbalah, and Gnostic cultures, who predate many centuries the Christian era. Secret societies have been forced to hide the true nature of their philosophies in a veil of Christianity to avoid persecution by the Church. Freemasons and their fellow organisms, the Rosicrucian Order, the Knights Templar, have all been accused of devil worship and idolatry in Europe. Stonemasons have sculpted numerous scenes that seem oddly out of place for a cathedral. The most striking one is the chilling depiction of the destruction of New York City and its landmarks. The pillar was added in 1997, 4 years before the destruction of the Twin Towers. Other recognizable skyscrapers are the Chrysler Building and the Citigroup Center. On the pillar next to it, we see the Brooklyn Bridge crumbling with cars and buses falling into agitated waters. At the right is the Statue of Liberty, which seems to be sinking in the water. Beneath this horrifying prophecy is the New York Stock Exchange, with people trading goods around it. So what is the purpose of this weird carving? Well, the first thing that needs to be mentioned is the actual St. John the Divine is credited for writing the Book of Revelation in the Bible, which describes, in symbolic imagery, the events of the apocalypse. Occultists believe that the Book of Revelation has been hermetically coded to reveal its true meaning to the initiates of esoteric teachings. This scene carved on the west entrance of the cathedral depicts New York as being Babylon the Great, the city that gets completely destroyed by the wrath of God.
Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
The Statue of Liberty may be the horror that sits on many waters from Revelation 17:1.
I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
The sculpture outside of the cathedral, called the Peace Fountain, basically symbolizes the struggle between good and evil, and features numerous elements we can find in paganism: sun worship, mythical creatures, and sun versus moon duality. The sculpture borrows the fantastic, bizarre, and distorted art style of the grotesque. All sorts of animal creatures are emerging from a smiling sun, which represents the basic paradigm of sun worship. The idol points to the east, in ancient pagan tradition. A devil head hangs from the bottom, and we can also find a quote from John Lennon saying, "One day, the world will live as one." There's your connection to the one world order out of chaos. This cathedral is home to many strange annual rituals, including the procession of the ghouls that takes place around Halloween, the blessing of the animals, the blessing of the bicycles, and Paul Winter's Winter Solstice celebration, where a famous New Age musician celebrates the winter solstice, one of the most ancient pagan rituals. This cathedral also happens to be the official headquarters of the Temple of Understanding, which is an interfaith effort to steer people away from traditional religions to a more hybrid kind of spirituality based on New Age philosophies. The temple has received full UN accreditation and has played a key role in the spiritual department of the United Nations. 12 individuals listed as directors or advisors of the Temple of Understanding are also members of the United Nations Global Forum Councils. Those forums have received numerous speakers who've openly supported a neo-pagan world religion based on earth worship. So there's your connection to a one-world religion. Members of the United Nations.
Sorry, I just noticed something. Look at this spiral right here. Does not look vaguely familiar or similar to the tattoo on the officer's hand on the body cam footage? The Gabrielle Petito body cam footage with the 666 and the triangle formation. Again, they literally put this stuff in plain sight and mock us. I mean, it's clear as day on that body cam footage for that entire ride. I mean, you can't miss it. We also have Zion. Zion is associated with the Star of David. The Star of David is also a hexagram with 666 triangles. Again, I can't make this stuff up. Even Nicole Kessinger in her interview with Kobach, he says, oh, so you and Chris are kind of like yin and yang. Here's a yin and yang symbol. Again, they literally throw it in our faces and put it in plain sight. As mentioned earlier, the black sun is occultic. Chris Watts has a black sun tattoo.
Nations Global Forum Councils. Those forums have received numerous speakers who've openly supported a neo-pagan world religion based on earth worship. So there's your connection to a one-world religion. Illuminati card game. In the 1990s, games designer Steve Jackson created a role-playing game called Illuminati, the Game of Conspiracy. When playing, you take on the role of shadowy puppet masters who make up the ruling elite and members of the Illuminati and other secret societies. Your mission is to launch Black Ops false flag attacks on your own people and generally conspire to act out evil plans to elevate your own wealth and, more importantly, to strengthen your iron-fisted grip on world domination. I'm not going to go.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to answer Mandy's question about the predictive programming. There's a couple theories as to why they put all this, these sometimes obvious and sometimes not so obvious clues about what they plan to do in the future and what that event's going to be about. There's a couple theories. One is that they believe in karma. So if they essentially tell us what they're going to do by inserting these clues into movies and in television shows and in other events as well, and we're too stupid to realize it, even though we would have no way of actually knowing what's going on, they told us and we're too stupid to realize it, so now they don't have any bad karma on their hands, even though it's a really messed up way of going about it. But that's what they believe. There's also another theory that they use the predictive programming to subconsciously condition us for the event so that when it happens, no matter how crazy or unbelievable it might seem, we will, subconsciously accept it for it being possible. And also, in my opinion, it's straight up mockery. It's literally putting it right in our faces in plain sight and essentially mocking us. So
over these cards in great detail, but these cards have an amazing track record of coming to fruition. From the Twin Towers and the Pentagon to many uncanny resemblances of modern public figures. On March 1st, 1990, in an early morning raid with an unlawful and unconstitutional warrant, agents of the United States Secret Service conducted a search of the Steve Jackson Games office. They seized and removed, all in all, 3 computers, 5 hard disks, and more than 300 floppies of software and data. They also seized a book manuscript being prepared for publication. This raid took place before the release of the Illuminati New World Order cards that we're talking about now, although versions of the Illuminati game have been around since the early 80s. The raid came about because Steve Jackson Games employed a hacker named Lloyd Blankenship that was a member of the hacker group, the Legion of Doom. Because of this, the Secret Service believed that Steve Jackson Games was a front for a hacker ring. Though a disturbing amount of the cards from this game have come true over the years, Steve Jackson and his employees deny having any insider information of the Illuminati and the New World Order, claiming that any events that the cards seem to coincide with are purely coincidental. The Economist. The Economist magazine is another entity with a great track record of future predictions that have come true. Either that, or they just know the plan and they encode it on the covers of their magazine. Each year they put out an issue titled The World in, and then whatever year it is. Every time one of these issues comes out, many YouTube channels take a shot at decoding what the cover means and what's to come in the future for humanity. We're briefly going to go over a couple of things in the World in 2019 edition of The Economist. One of the things that stuck out to me was the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse that are to the right of the panda bear. As you can see here, one of them is wearing what looks like a medical face mask. This is interesting because at the end of 2019 is when this whole fiasco started. On the head of the masked horseman is a spiked crown, like that of the Statue of Liberty. The word corona is Latin for crown. Besides Event 201, which was a coronavirus simulation that occurred just weeks before the pandemic began, this shows the whole thing is planned. On the top of the globe sits a panda, which are animals located in China, where this so-called outbreak started. Underneath the panda, to the left of the 4 horsemen, is a stork carrying a baby with a barcode. This seems to tie in with the idea of ID 2020, chipping babies at birth with a digital ID. On the bottom left of the cover is an animal known as a pangolin. Now this is fascinating because after the supposed pandemic got going, many news outlets were blaming the spread of the coronavirus on the pangolin. Lots of interesting things on this cover, including the Vitruvian Man holding a cell phone with a QR code, Pinocchio with the long nose, signifying lies, and Donald Trump along with another man having facial recognition used on them. Again, this magazine comes out with a hardcore predictive programming issue every year, and you can find many decodes on all of them. Eurovision 2019. In 2019, Madonna performed at Eurovision, covering one eye with a patch and wearing a crown, or a corona, on her head. The song that she sang contained the lyrics, "Not everyone is coming to the future. Not everyone is learning from the past. Not everyone is coming to the future. Not everyone that's here is gonna last."
Not everyone is coming to the future. Not everyone is learning from the past. Not everyone is coming to the future. Not everyone that's here is gonna last.
All the while, people with gas masks were dancing around her. At one point, Madonna blows a wind of death on the masked people and everyone dies, while the screens in the background show a broken Statue of Liberty. This performance took place in May of 2019, 6 months before the news started ringing the bell on the current pandemic. Fast forward to the recent post on her Instagram account where she had this to say.
That's the thing about COVID-19, it doesn't care about how rich you are, how famous you are, how funny you are, how smart you are, where you live, how old you are, what amazing stories you can tell. It's the great equalizer. And what's terrible about it is what's great about it. What's terrible about it is it's made us all equal in many ways. And what's wonderful about it.
No, actually, Madonna, what's terrible is the fact that I have to look at you in the bathtub right now. That's what's terrible. I don't know what's worse. That or the fact that you are pushing propaganda onto millions of people because, oh, well, if Madonna is in her bathtub saying how terrible this virus is, then it must be true because, you know, we're Madonna fans and she knows what she's talking about because she's a medical doctor. It's straight up propaganda and it's ridiculous. It's bullshit. Okay, here we go.
Is that it's made us all equal in many ways.
If anything about the virus was real in any way, it wouldn't be wonderful by any means. Conclusion. There are several reasons that the elite put all this symbolism out in the open for the masses to see. One is predictive programming, as we've gone over. Predictive programming says, once the masses are exposed to a shocking idea, they are less shocked and more accepting when it actually happens. Second, the elite believe in karmic laws. If the masses are properly warned, and if they willingly accept what is happening, the elite are relieved of any bad karma. Third, putting their ideas on display for everyone to witness gives their plans the energy needed to bear fruit. It's like the old saying, where thoughts go, energy flows. Finally, symbols rule the world. Throughout history, the symbolism of those in power has always been littered all across society. One thing is for sure. For centuries, these secret orders have been very careful and calculated in the moves toward their ultimate dream of a one-world rule. But over the past 2 decades, they seem to have switched gears in order to advance their agendas at lightning speed. This is because of the internet. People have been able to share things with each other at the click of a mouse, and more people are waking up at a much faster pace. This turned out to be a blow to the occult elite that they weren't ready for. The Great Awakening is upon us, and they are doing everything they possibly can to put a stop to it. As you can tell, with everything that's going on. More on that in future videos. This has been ODD. Thanks for watching my video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and check out other videos on this channel. Also, consider becoming a Patreon and keeping me afloat while I continue to make videos based on my research. Any and all support is highly appreciated. Thanks again.
Okay, so I know it went a little bit, or actually a lot, into like the Freemasonic and everything, but I definitely wanted you guys to see about the Hegelian dialectic at the beginning and how they go about doing that. Hey, Josh, you thought you were the only one that watches ODD? Definitely not. I've been following ODD since my flat Earth rabbit hole days. But yeah, so I wanted to play this video, and I know that ODD TV would have no problem with me sharing this. So if YouTube tries to give me any hassle about it, I'll just contact ODD TV. Again, it's unlike in the true crime community where everybody, or not everybody, but a lot of people are like causing drama, and they are in competitive with one another and trying to get the most views or whatever, or make the most money. Unlike the true crime community, us, I don't really like to say like truthers, but the ones that are trying to get the truth out there about these events to wake people up, we're all about supporting one another, and there's no competition, because we're trying to wake up as many people as possible. So again, I don't think that ODD TV would have any problem with me playing his content, of course, as long as I give him credit for it, which is a given. definitely want to give him all the credit for that video, because it's an amazing video, a lot of information, and that's just one of his videos. He has so many videos covering him and RV Truth, covering all the symbolism, as well as other things as well. And I wanted to again show you guys this because it's not just in the true crime community. They are orchestrating these events, and it's not even just in the United States. It's all over the world. I'm just focused mainly on the United States because that's where I am, and that's where the Smith Modernization Act of 2012, or my favorite bill that Kelsey likes to say, it's my favorite. It's not my favorite, but I do talk about it a lot because it's important. So when I hear someone in a chat say, or a channel creator in true crime say, how can they get away with this? How can they, law enforcement, how can Michael Rourke, DA Rourke, how can they get away with so much corruption, with nothing adding up in the case, with, if you want to go with the cover-up route even, it doesn't matter. They can get away with it legally because of that Smith Modernization Act. And I'll post it in other chats as well. So if someone says, I don't believe you, I don't, you're just a conspiracy theorist, well then go and look up the information yourself. I'm not going to read out the whole bill for you in another channel creator's chat, but I will tell you where to find the information. Hey V. And it's all in that, like I said, the Smith Modernization Act of 2012. I've said it so many times, it just rolls right off my tongue. Go and look that up. The information's there, but a lot of people will not do the research themselves. And I can only give you guys the information that I've learned over the years, and what you guys want to do with that is on you. And again, I'm still, and I know I keep saying again, but I'll try not to say again so much. But since I am on YouTube still covering these cases, even though I've been more transparent over the last couple of months, a lot more than I was in the entire 2 years covering the Watts case, it's still difficult for me to play content or show you guys or talk about content that I really want to show you that it's happening in all these other events. But it's difficult because you're not allowed to talk about that kind of stuff on this platform, or your channel will get taken down. And I'm not being over dramatic. There's several channels that I've followed over the years that have been taken down for talking about the same things, and for talking about that I talk about, and for talking about the other orchestrated events that I wish I could talk about, to show you guys that they're happening all the time, and they're going to continue to keep happening. So, and there's nothing we can do about it, unfortunately. Not being negative. Hey Chris, thank you for subbing. I appreciate it. But not to be negative, but because of that bill, and because they can legally do it, and we have no say in it, and they have no liability. So even if, for whatever, ODD TV and RV Truth and all the other ones that are exposing these events and waking people up, if we were able to wake everybody up and everyone, storm the White House or wherever you want to yell at, right? It doesn't matter because they can legally do it. Because of that bill. They were doing it way before that bill was even passed, but they were doing it illegally. So again, now they can do it with no liability, and it can't be traced back to them. So even if you think that there's no way that the Chris Watts case or any of these true crime cases can be orchestrated, there's way too many people involved. That's just ridiculous. That's a crazy conspiracy theory. If they're capable of a cover-up to that extent that a lot of people in the true crime community that are covering the Watts case are starting to believe, or that are convinced is happening. Hey, Anthony. If they believe that there's a cover-up of that scale, why do they think that they can't go just a step further? And it's even more simple than a cover-up, orchestrating it. If they've lied about all those things, then what else are they capable of lying about? And if you believe that the Nate's footage is staged, or the footage of Shanann coming home is fake, or it's not from that day, what else are they capable in the case of faking or making up? Are they capable of writing an entire narrative and putting it into a discovery and calling it a homicide case? It's really, really not that complicated. And a lot of these events are planned years in advance. And that's why they're always going to have multiple agendas, because they're not going to go through all that trouble just to accomplish, potentially one thing. And I know it's difficult for some people to listen to what I say about these true crime cases, because they are sad. They are tragic. They do pull at heartstrings. They sway emotions and affect people, more people than others. But if people want to, if they don't want to continue to be duped over and over again for the rest of their lives, and have these events that are orchestrated manipulate them and let them affect their personal lives to where some can't even sleep at night over these true crime cases. I mean, that's insane to me. I don't judge anyone. That's just because, believe it or not, they have emotions, they have feelings, they have a conscience. Unlike the people that are orchestrating these events, they don't. They don't have any of that. They don't give a shit. They don't care about us. Hey, Pride or Honesty. But that's why they're so tragic, because when there's emotions involved, the majority of people, they don't think clearly. They don't think logically. All logic goes out the window, and it's just, oh my God, this is terrible. This is horrible. How could these poor innocent lives be murdered by their husband or killed at a pew 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 facility, or a terrorist attack? It doesn't matter. But they are using these events and making them so tragic in order to push propaganda and sway opinions. And when you have mainstream media, all the mainstream media outlets that are all run by the same group of individuals, the same ones that are orchestrating these events, and you have these mainstream media outlets that are there to push this propaganda out and to as many people as possible, you got all that, they got all that going for them, it's likely that they're going to do a pretty good job at succeeding with these psyops, okay? And I know that my channel is not for everyone, but I'm doing this for the ones that do want the truth, that don't want to be duped anymore, that can admit that they were duped and say, you know what, fool me once, but I don't want to be affected by these fake mainstream media homicide cases or missing persons cases. I don't want these fake cases to affect my life. I want to concentrate on the ones that are real, the ones who actually lose their lives, and preserve their memories, or keep their memories alive, right? But you're being manipulated by these cases. And in my opinion, the majority of true crime, and I don't want to say this because I know that anyone in the true crime community that loves true crime is not going to want to hear this. But in my opinion, the true crime community, especially on social media, is based off of a lie. It's all based off of lies. It's these high-profile mainstream cases that they are pushing more than anything else, and they never add up. It's all distraction. It pulls people in. Sways emotions. To induce fear into people. They want people to be scared all the time. They want people to be distracted. They want people to be divided. They want you to not trust anybody close to you. Don't trust your husband that you married and then you dedicated your life to, or dedicated, to trust to protect yourself and your children. Don't trust him because he could be the next Chris Watts. Or don't trust Aiden Food, your 14-year-old son, because he's capable of stabbing his classmate 114 times. Right? Or what about the stepmother, Leticia Stout? Even a young white stepmother is even capable of killing your child. They're trying to demonize and hype up like these murder cases. Like when it really, yes, does murder happen, but it doesn't happen the way they're presenting these cases. I mean, the narratives are straight from like a movie script. And not to mention the fact that everything is displayed for the public, for the whole thing to see. Don't mind the investigation. Don't mind that it could possibly go to trial and taint a juror or jury. There, we're just going to give you all this information, the body cam footage, the discovery, all the interviews, so that, you guys are going to bury your heads in it and you're going to try and look up all these people. It's done that way for a reason. It gets all that mainstream worldwide attention that really is the reason why it makes these psyops so successful. And again, when you have all the mainstream media outlets pushing out these narratives, to so many people, it's that's why they're so successful. Because as I mentioned earlier, would so many people be interested in the Gabrielle Petito case that's going on right now if we didn't have that hour-long body cam footage of them being pulled over, of the traffic stop? Would as many people be interested if we didn't have that hour-long footage that I played earlier in the stream about, with all the media standing there and they're chanting, "Where's Gabby? Where's Gabby?" Do you think that there'd be so much attention with the Watts case if we didn't have Shanann's Facebook account made available, if we didn't have all the documentaries made, if we didn't have the discovery, if we didn't have the body cam footage, if we didn't have the interviews, right? If we didn't have the released prison phone calls, which doesn't even have to do with the investigation, it's after the fact. If they actually redacted everyone's personal information, especially minors' information, like you're supposed to, when you release information, especially in a homicide case, to millions of people, if they had redacted everyone's personal information in the discovery in the Watts case, do you think that many people, especially in the true crime community, would be that interested in the case still? No, they wouldn't have anything to look up. They wouldn't have Nicole Kessinger to go do a background check on. They wouldn't have Troy McCoy. They wouldn't have Nicole Atkinson. They wouldn't have Jimbo. They wouldn't have all this information to bury their heads into that discovery. There would be nothing to research. There'd be nothing to talk about because everything would be redacted like it's supposed to, and the narrative would fit like it's supposed to, and there wouldn't be so many holes and inconsistencies and so many unanswered questions with the amount of information that was released. Like it should be open and shut, but it's not, because these true crime cases are not meant to be solved. They are cherry picked with the information. They only show us what they want us to see. You have all these crazy stories coming out, like with Summer Wells and the prank calls and Mexican mafia. I mean, it's a complete circus. But it confuses everybody. Right? Well, Mary said this to Candace, and then it was a prank call, and then now they're extraditing Dawn, and then Dawn's upset, and now they're going out after saying that they're being threatened, and now there goes them going after free speech on social media, right? And everyone's so focused on this one child in this case when there are so many other missing children. They go missing all the time. And yet, there's only one missing child out of all the ones that are missing that are getting so much attention. Why? because it pulls people in. It's all a part of the psychological aspect of it. But so many people, and especially in the true crime community, they do not think for themselves. They literally believe all these official narratives, mainstream media narratives of these true crime cases, and a lot of times not even trying to even attempt to vet the information for themselves, or everything in the true crime community is hearsay. We're basing everything we're believing off of what the mainstream media tells us, or with the family members who are highly all involved in social media, which is bizarre. But it's not bizarre if you look at it from a psychological aspect, or psyop aspect. So we're just believing what the people involved in the case are saying, who we don't even know, we've never met them, believing what mainstream media tells us, believing what the law enforcement tells us. Why would anybody believe what any of them say? Why? Because they're law enforcement and they're of what, higher authority? So, and why would they lie to us? Why would anybody lie to anyone? Why do people lie? Because it benefits them in some way or another, right? Or protects them, or it's to sway opinions. Everything in true crime and all these cases are all based off of hearsay. The majority of the time, there's no way to vet any of this information we're given. Even a witness statement. People are believing the witness statement in this Gabrielle case, saying that, oh, they saw this person. It's just a statement. It doesn't make it factual. Witnesses make mistakes all the time, even, either way. And even with the Watts case, there's so many channel creators and so many, true crimers that are saying how they don't believe anything that Rourke says. They don't believe anything in the discovery because there's so many inconsistencies and nothing adds up in the discovery. But yet they'll say a minute later that they're basing all of their evidence off of that discovery. That makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely zero sense. If they've lied about one thing, if one thing doesn't add up, then what else are they capable of lying about? And could they lie about the entire thing in order to push agendas? People can theorize about the Watts case for years and years and years if they want to. That's on them. I don't want to do that. I don't have to do that because I'm able to see the Watts case and these other true crime cases for what they really are. And if you stick around with me long enough, not everyone it'd be impossible to wake everybody up. And not everyone will be able to, you will be able to wake everyone up. It's just, there's some people you just can't. But again, I'm doing this for the ones that are capable, that have, think logically and have and think critically and can have an open mind and look at all possibilities, no matter what their that official narrative has told them, or what narrative they want to believe. If they really truly want to know the truth about what's going on with the Watts case, then they will listen to what I have to say, or what other people have to say about these orchestrated events. But I really don't think that a lot of people want the truth. They want their own ending, whether it be to see Nicole Kessinger spend the rest of her days rotting in a prison cell, or see, or whatever. It doesn't matter. I feel like they all just want their own outcome. But also the reason why that is because they're so psychologically manipulated with these psyops, and they let their emotions take over with these tragic true crime cases, that it gives them tunnel vision. It clears their vision in order to see what's really going on in plain sight right in front of their faces. But they're so distraught and they're so upset over the loss of these victims, or these victims losing their lives, right, allegedly. There's no way that they're going to be able to see anything for what it really is. Because that judgment is going to be clouded by either their biased opinions on the case or because they're letting their emotions get in the way of seeing what's really going on. And that's why they make, I know I sound repetitive, but that's why they make them so tragic. So, and even if they don't make sense or they don't add up, it doesn't matter because all logic goes out the window and it's just, oh my God, this is awful. And it pulls at heartstrings. And when emotions are terrible when it comes to thinking clearly and logically. And I don't have tunnel vision. I don't have a biased opinion against anybody in this case. So that's why I'm able to not let my emotions cloud my judgment. And I also don't believe just because I saw it on Bodycam footage that it makes it real. And I also don't believe that just because I read it on a piece of paper in a discovery put out by law enforcement that it makes it 100% factual and true. It doesn't. It's simply going based off of what someone told us. It doesn't matter who it is. Nobody should believe something just because they were told that it's true. I don't care who it comes from. The President of the United States, it doesn't matter. Hi, Daria. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I know I'm on a rant, but I just figure I might as well while we're here. Hey, Dub. Melissa, man, that's the thing. With my theory, I don't believe that anybody was involved because it's not, it was orchestrated. It's a made up story. And again, I know if anybody's new to my channel right now, I know that might sound disrespectful and that's not something that the majority of people want to hear. But again, I can't worry about hurting other people's feelings or offending anybody anymore. I just can't because I can't sugarcoat things anymore. I need to try to wake up as many people as possible so that hopefully the more people that know what's going on and in this world around us, and that our government is not really all that, they're not 100% there to look out for our best interests, okay? And it's not just U.S. government, it's all government. And no, I'm not saying that all government is corrupt. I'm not saying that all police officers are corrupt. I'm just saying that there are some very corrupt people out there and they don't give two shits about you and they don't give two shits about me. They only care about control and being on top. And there's been a couple of my subscribers that have said everything with this Watts case that you're saying now makes so much more sense. When before, like finding your channel, before listening to your live streams, believing the official narrative or even the cover-up narrative, everything makes so much sense with my theory. It's the only thing that makes sense. Even channel creators and anyone that is going with the whole cover-up theory, they're still not finding the answers to why nothing adds up. I'm giving everyone the answers to those questions. This is why this was released. This is why this didn't happen. This is why nothing was done from the books. Yada, yada, yada. but cognitive dissonance is going to have a huge, it's going to be a huge issue with waking people up to this case, especially when we're over, was it 3 years now? 3 years now. There's so much invested in it. And again, people like it's going to be very difficult, but I'm trying my best. So, anyways, I'm just rambling. That being said, I'm sorry if I tried to kind of pay attention to the chat. I know I'm the worst at that. Best, worst streamer ever. Or maybe worst, best streamer ever. Either way, I do apologize if anybody came in to the chat that I didn't say hi to. I was not ignoring you. I appreciate everyone for being here. Anyone that was new or that's new here, I appreciate you guys being here as well and hearing me out, at least for a little bit of what I have to say. And please, if you are not familiar with ODD TV, I did pin his channel link, or at least the link to the video, which will take you to his channel, obviously, at the top of the chat. If you go to the replay, I put in Melissa Jade's link. Please go check out her channel. She's doing great work on covering true crime, as well as other conspiracies and a variety of other things, trivia, you name it. She does a great job. She's very supportive of me, and I truly appreciate her. And again, allowing me to have a voice on her channel, whereas I no longer have pretty much a voice on any other true crime channel. So it's very few left. So Melissa, if you're listening, thank you so much. And I posted her link in the chat, and I will post it again. Also, check out True Crime Analyst. Kelsey, if you want to post your channel link again, if you guys, if astronomy and astrophotography is something that you're interested in, please check out Kelsey Kish's YouTube channel, because I really want to support other creators. So, that being said, thank you again, everyone, for being here, and I will continue to do these live streams covering maybe the Summer Wells case. I don't know. It's such a circus. I don't even want to go there. But since I did start the Gabrielle Petito case at the beginning, it might be a little bit easier to keep up with it if it does get a little circusy. So I'll continue to do these live streams in order to keep exposing the truth as it progresses. And I still plan on waking people up to the Watts case, of course, but it all falls into one another. Watts always gets brought up. It's inevitable. So, I will continue to do that. Thank you, everyone, for being here again, and I'll see you guys next time. And thank you to my moderators. Okay, bye. Just kidding. All right, bye, guys.